Thank you, Mrs. Clancy, and thank you for letting the University of Tulsa be part of your story. Also, let me say thank you to those who have provided me the opportunity to speak at this matriculation exercise today. I am merely one of thousands of faculty and staff who are prospective collaborators, trusted mentors, and friends not yet met. As a spokesperson for all of us, I bring a simple message. This community, our community, is built on curiosity. Intellectual curiosity and an inclusive community are two essential elements of the TU commitment. To illustrate, please allow me to share a story with you. In doing so, I'll attempt to mimic the legendary rest of the story style of famous TU alumnus and Hall of Famer Paul Harvey. See if you can guess who I'm referring to before I get to the end. Izzy was just like any other boy in his urban neighborhood. His parents were grocery store owners. Along with his sister Gertrude, the four of them occupied a two-room apartment in the city. As was the norm, Izzy and Gertrude attended public school with other kids from the neighborhood. Upon further reflection, Izzy was not just like any other boy. He was obsessed with science. He checked out stacks upon stacks of science books from the public library. He scavenged together component parts to make his own radio. This was following his first scientific publication while still in elementary school. After graduating from a public high school, young Izzy decided to pursue higher education at a private university. He joined the school's ROTC equivalent and declared electrical engineering as his major, before changing to chemistry shortly thereafter. Following completion of his coursework, including a senior thesis about the hypothetical charge that an atom would have if all bonds to atoms of different elements were 100% ionic, he found stimulating work hard to come by. Izzy returned to his alma mater as a graduate student and began studying physics. He also began studying Helen, a summer school student from a college closer to his boyhood home. He transferred to be closer to Helen. The two were married 3 years later. Their wedding day was the day following the publication of his doctoral thesis. Ironically, the topic of the thesis was magnetism. Izzy, that romantic rascal, applied his professional insights to his personal life. He and Helen were together a total of 65 years. You may not recognize the name Dr. Isidore Izzy Rabi, but if you or a loved one has had an MRI, you can appreciate his discovery of nuclear magnetic resonance. For this, he won the 1944 Nobel Prize in Physics. Additionally, he was one of the first scientists in the United States to work on the cavity magnetron, which is used in microwave ovens. So now you know the rest of the story. Or so it seems. There's one more tidbit you should know. Dr. Rabi was once asked, "Why did you become a scientist?" His answer was profound. "My mother made me a scientist without ever intending it." While other mothers were asking questions like, "What did you learn today?" Mrs. Rabi asked her son, "Izzy, did you ask a good question today?" That difference, said Rabi, asking good questions made all the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all born curious. Our questions of curiosity provide the mechanism that allow us to grow and understand the world around us. Sadly, research indicates that the average 6 to 18-year-old student today asks one question per 1 hour class per month. That's the opposite of curiosity. Speaking as someone who has devoted his adult life to asking good questions and having an unyielding desire to discover their answers, let me say, without reservation, that being a passive learner in this environment will not lead to long-term success. Intellectual curiosity is essential. Maybe all of us could benefit from following Mrs. Robbie's lead, asking ourselves and each other, did you ask a good question today? Nobel Prizes are promised to no one. However, I feel extremely confident in saying that reprioritizing curiosity will net future dividends. A key phrase of the TU commitment reads, cultivating an insatiable intellectual curiosity and inquisitiveness. Asking good questions is at the heart of this phrase. TU provides both tools and techniques to not only ask the best questions, but to discover the clearest answers. This is how we can be your best partner in higher education. To this blue-shirted brigade, since I am old enough to be your father, here's a word of advice and caution. Once you ask, be a willing listener. TU is a place to hear and be heard. At universities all over the country, young people are walking out on speakers with whom they have ideological disagreement or staying and being so disruptive that others cannot listen in order to draw their own conclusions. Not here. We can disagree without being disagreeable. We can bring a genuine sense of empathy, civility, and mutual respect among people. We can be cordial as each of us has the potential to bring value to others. This brings me to another important passage of the TU commitment, inclusive community, which is our focus on developing deeper, more meaningful, more collaborative connection. Dr. Robbie's initial community was his neighborhood. Community in his era was determined by where you grew up. Modern community can be formed a wider variety of ways, including communities around common interests. Even activities that appear on the surface to be solo have community overtones. Author J.K. Rowling worked at a not-for-profit organization prior to penning the first Harry Potter book. The heartbreak she witnessed during that job moved her to question how she could share with the rest of the world that love conquers all. Armed with her enormous, vivid imagination, Jo initially worked alone. However, she wasn't alone for long. Eventually, her team, including literary agent Christopher Little, her UK publisher Bloomsbury, and her US publisher Scholastic, played critical roles in her story becoming an international phenomenon. Don't believe for a second that all of that was easy. She was rejected by the first dozen publishers she approached. As a team, they prevailed to the benefit of us all. Even Rowling's protagonist, Harry, did not go unaided as many times as he nobly tried. Hermione and Ron never let him fly solo. And is a powerful, connecting, community-building word. As you add to your story, I say pose lots of questions, good questions, inside and outside the classroom. Use them as opportunities to discover mentors, collaborators, and lifelong friends. Use them to establish an inclusive community. This will push you to tap your boundless potential. The questions you ask could be instrumental to your TU experience and beyond. Here are a few examples to consider. Dr. Schilling, can I help you with your research? Should we volunteer together at True Blue Neighbors? When are you planning to study abroad? Should we go hear the guest speaker on campus? Is the band playing at 10 or 11? That's at night for all the non-teenagers in the room. Have you ever been to a TU soccer match? Do you want to hang out? Can I wash your car for you, Dr. Suter? While I do like a clean car, that question will get you nowhere. It was in this venue at this event 2 years ago that I saw TU student quality on display for the first time. I was so impressed by the student speakers that I texted my stunningly beautiful bride to share my overwhelmingly positive first impression. I trust those sitting behind me, as well as those sitting before me, will only add to this legacy. I would like to close by saying, if I had a private moment with my son or daughter before we were to leave this matriculation ceremony, I might say this: we are so proud of the person you have become. We feel confident that you have made a terrific choice by coming to TU, and we trust you agree. We've encountered some amazing people, marvelous, caring people who want to see you succeed and grow. It might be challenging at times, but remember that the expectation at our house is very clear. If you start, you finish. We do not quit. Quitting is not who we are, it's not what we do, and it's not how we roll. We know you can do this and do it well. We also know that people are here to help if you have the courage to ask. We love you. We will miss you. So check in with us every now and again among all the fun you'll be having. Also give strong consideration to that matriculation speaker's advice. He seemed like a reasonable fellow. Ask lots of good questions, connect with people who have similar curiosities, and be willing to listen to those with different perspectives, especially since that speaker is not simply old enough to be your father. For one of you, he is your father. Parents, somehow, some way, I'm holding it together as I stand before you. That hasn't been true throughout the rest of today. I'm one of you. One of those angelic faces sitting before me lived at our house before moving on campus this morning. Faculty and staff, I'm also one of you. I hope I've represented us well over the last several minutes. As meaningful as this moment is, I'm looking forward to the one we'll have at commencement in May 2022, when you are reflecting on all the ways your story has grown and developed here at TU. May all the days in between matriculation and commencement and well beyond be filled with curiosity and community as you continually seek opportunities to discover a future not yet revealed. Trust me when I say, the questions you ask and the people you meet will shape the rest of your story. Finally, it is often said that a good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. At TU, we believe that a good story includes acceptance, engagement, empowerment, and self-discovery as well. If we are living this commitment, you'll feel those four things. In a moment, four outstanding young people will share how their experiences have shaped their TU story, and by doing so, highlight these other important elements of the commitment.